Having now made our way all the way to the bottom of Florida and back up the west coast past Tampa, we then headed back in toward the center of Florida to a place called Zephyr Hills. And we found ourselves at the Zephyr Hills Water's Edge Holiday Park, which was to be our home for the next month.
Honey?
I'm scrubbing a golf buggy.
Golf buggy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's your
Hello.
new mode of transport, is it?
Well, I kind of like this golf buggy. The deal was she prints a label for our van. I scrub the golf buggy.
Wow.
I'm not too sure who got the better end of the deal.
Oh, you're a good bloke.
Got Cindy behind the wheel.
Woohoo! I-95, no, not quite.
And we're on a mission to get rid of the rubbish.
10 mile an hour speed limit. How do I know how fast I'm going?
We don't. And we have a traffic jam here at the Water's Edge Holiday Park. Is it Water's Edge then?
Yeah, Water's Edge RV
Water's Edge.
Resort.
Cindy's going to maneuver her way past this. It's going to be tricky. Great skills, Cindy. Love your work. Right.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, look at the duckies.
We're nearly there. We've nearly made it to the rubbish.
Rubbish.
And here we are going to the rubbish bin. Hello, dog.
Hello, puppy. What you up to?
This was something that certainly was not familiar to us, but if you have ever visited an RV park in Florida, you are guaranteed to see a lot of golf carts.
You don't know how fast we're going. Is it about 10 mile an hour, honey?
Is it a wild animal? Yes, I believe it is.
Yeah. Oh, event tickets available here.
What for?
Well, if we want to go, there's a comedy show.
Oh, yeah, we
Spit
want to do
limit.
that.
Hello.
Hello.
There's
And before you knew it, we had tickets to the comedy show and we were booked in to watch the show later that week. They were called Spitting Image and they were twins and they were pretty cool. And not overly priced or held at the park. And it wasn't the only thing held at the park. Before you knew it, we were playing a brand new game that we had never experienced before called Shuffleboard. So Penny,
Here, you want me to do it?
no, it's all good. So tell us, Penny, what are your skills on the shuffleboard court? What are your tactics?
Mediocre.
Uh-huh.
Knock out the other opponent's puck.
You're one of them knockout girls?
Yeah,
Is that how it works?
knockout penny, that's what we call it.
Knockout Penny.
Get the highest score.
Yeah. Love your work, Penny. We've seen you, mate.
Minus 980. Loser!
Bit of a scoreboard action. Shuffleboard turned out to be a pretty good game. It also turned out to be relatively competitive, even though nobody would admit to it, and the skills that we did not have shone through pretty damn quick. But it goes without saying we were thrilled to be a part of it. It also appeared to us that Americans love to gamble. Be it bingo or the local lottery, the returns were probably a little bit more than the average Australian was used to. In this case, the lotto ended up jackpotting to $1.4 billion. We soon found out what was a good place to go out for dinner, what wasn't, and what was great value for money. This place turned out to be a favourite. And having now found ourselves in a relatively central part of Florida, we were in a position to jump on the bike and go wherever we wanted. In this case, the town was called Dade City. It was only 15 minutes up the road. It was a relatively modest town with lovely little cafes, bars, a brewery, modest museums, and just a few little things that you wouldn't altogether expect to see. We found ourselves again in a position to catch up with some friends who we had met along the way, and now to meet them in Florida was pretty cool. And to top it off, they had a new member in the family, and his name was...
Buddy.
Buddy.
You
name him Buddy?
Buddy. Look at you blinking, cutie pie.
But the problem is you need always other.
He's moving.
How old is he?
I think it will be 2 or 3 months, not more.
No.
Yeah, one mouthful. And if you really want to win the hearts and souls of two Australians that have been on the road for quite some time, there's a pretty easy way of doing it. Simply find them a jar of Vegemite. And another thing you discover pretty quick when you're on the road for a long period of time is that there are some elements that are a holiday and others that just need to be part of life.
What's that?
Looks like you're running the place.
Oh no, it's a great place.
And what have they done to you today, Cindy? Ooh, wow. What colour's that?
710.
Is it anything like 720 or?
No, totally different. Okay, yep, eyebrows.
For me, relaxation is probably sailing the Bay of Tampa during 25 knot winds. For Cindy, the opportunity to get a little bit of TLC goes a long, long way. And on one of our many spur-of-the-moment trips to do something a little bit left to centre, like go and find John Travolta's place, we came across this little shop.
What do you think of the alligator there, Al?
They look very happy.
Yeah?
Lots of I
Yes.
feel like they're a little bit ahead of their time.
Ahead of their time. You're too funny.
And as rumour had it, John Travolta had his own personal airstrip somewhere in the depths of Florida. So far be it for us to not try and find it, and after an hour and a half on the bike, we finally did. Well, at least we found his front gate. But nothing great comes without a cost, it seems, and in this case, a quick head check saw my glasses fly off and disappear underneath an oncoming vehicle. On the highway, does that mean somebody's run over them in a car?
Yep, lenses are gone. Actually, several cars ran over them, actually.
Okay. And not unlike a house, an RV takes ongoing maintenance. And I decided it was a good idea to rotate the tyres to make sure I got the most wear out of them. Of course, that exposed all the dirt, so I gave them a clean. Another trip in a totally opposite direction, heading back south, approximately 1 hour, maybe 2 hours from where we were on the motorbike, took us to the core of where Hurricane Ian had landed on the coast of Florida. It took us to a part of Florida called Fort Myers. And while much of Florida had avoided the devastation that was caused by Hurricane Ian, this part of the world certainly had not. And the closer you got to the beach, the closer you came to understanding the devastation that this hurricane had caused. These photos that you're looking at here are photos of what would have been prime Florida real estate only months before we had arrived. On a slightly more positive note, if you were ever a fan of Orange County choppers, maybe like I was not that long ago, or maybe even just a fan of motorcycles, this is a pretty cool place to visit. For me, there's a couple of things that are pretty cool, and this surely has to be one of them. Not only that I'm standing outside a Harley Davidson joint, and I don't ride a Harley, but I'm out the front of Orange County choppers. And it's at this point that I probably should point out that I am the only Kawasaki in the car park. This place and the motorcycles within it are absolute art. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but there was something in the culture of the place that just made me want a beer. And in this case, we only had to go 5 or 10 minutes up the road from Zephyr Hills to find this modest but stunning little aircraft museum. So whether it be catching up with family from Canada that had made their way to Florida, or whether it had been making new friends at Zephyr Hills RV Park, or whether it had been just hanging out with people and enjoying a good time, Zephyr Hills had been a lovely place for us. It had also been an education in living at an over 55s RV park where, for a change, we actually felt young. And the beauty of the people there who took the time to treat us like we were one of them was something that we could not be more thankful for.
Yeah.
Oh,
when was the
oh,
last?
love.
When was the last time you had an Australian, Dawn?
I never had one yet.
Yeah. And
I
so
said yet.
and so is Ellen?
What you were saying was actually true.
Yeah.
So Ellen's your first
And
Australian.
I am proud to have Dawn as my first. That's beautiful.
As the sun sets behind you, lovely.
Zephyr Hills, however, was to take us to a part of our journey which would shift us away from America. It had to, because we could only be in America for 3 months as Australians before we had to leave the country, not only leave the country, we had to leave the continent. We had to leave the Americanas and get out for a minimum of a month so we could then re-enter and continue our way around America. So, as much as we loved Zephyr Hills, the bags were now being packed for the next part of our journey.